Welcome back, guys. It's Awesome with Gun 60. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you 7 things as you guys are buying your car that you should look at when you're talking to a dealership. These are, things that are just fresh on my mind after just purchasing my 2020 Ford Mustang. So I have 7 things or 7 tips as you guys are starting the negotiation process, looking for cars, closing out on your deal, that might just help you guys as you're purchasing your next car. Okay, so step number 1 is always try and do your financing through the dealership if you can and if it makes sense. Now, if you guys can pay cash for a car, that's great. That's awesome. You've paid it off. You save money by not paying interest and everything else. Although I think it's always smarter to borrow somebody else's money and keep that liquid cash on hand, but that's just my opinion. However, if you guys are able to get a dealership that will give you as good of a rate as you can get on your own, you should do it through them, because it can instantly save you guys money on negotiating on a car. I have gotten thousands of dollars off of cars because I said, hey, if I do the financing through you, can you get this term? Can you get this rate? And I also willingly know that they're going to get a kickback from whichever financial institution as an upfront bonus for referring them to new customers. So if you guys can get those rates that you're looking for, those terms, and it makes sense for you guys, if you do the financing through them and all you say is, hey, maybe if you guys are kind of stuck on a price and you say, hey, if I do my financing through you, can you sell me the car at this rate? And honestly, it works every single time. When negotiations stall, I try and do my financing through them, and it gets me a little bit extra off the car. The second thing that you guys should know if you're out there buying a car is know the market and know comparable cars out there that compare closest to you, the car or truck or SUV, whatever it is that you're buying. Know before you talk to a dealership. Know before you buy. Here in Utah, I know for whatever reason, Challengers, Mustangs, they just charge more for them. I've found better deals in the middle of the country, hence buying cars in Nebraska and Iowa, and even back east. And so know the kind of model, know what they go for, know if they hold their value, because some of these dealerships right now have a lot of markups around these cars, and honestly, they price them at certain levels because of supply and demand, but they also price them that way because they know people are going to pay that for a car. And so you guys, as you're out there kind of doing your research, just make sure you know what other states, what other cars just like that model, and make sure the features are comparable, that see how they stack up, and then that gives you a bargaining chip as you guys are negotiating. So this third tip is for some of you who might be buying a car out of state. Now, I am a firm believer in buying a car out of state because if you do your homework, if you do your research, you actually can get a really good deal, and it's worked out very well for me on my Challenger. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I think I got a really good deal on my Mustang. So I've gotten almost 10 grand off of my 2 cars that I've purchased within the last year, and it's because I was willing to go out of state and willing to look for them. However, the one thing that I just want to throw out there is just realize you guys may not qualify for certain incentives depending on the manufacturer and depending on where you buy the car. For example, if I were looking back east or kind of in the central region for a Ford Mustang, which is what I was looking for, I couldn't get $1,000 more than what others would have gotten if they lived in that state or if they lived in that territory. For whatever reason in the West, Ford just wasn't offering those incentives. So if you guys get on a website and you see, oh, these amazing deals, these amazing offers, just know you might not qualify for them based on where you live, and you guys need to know that. So when I started looking at, Mustangs in Texas, and then I eventually settled one in Iowa, they looked at the price and like, hey, I don't mean to be a letdown, but, we can offer you this much off of the rebate, but you don't qualify for this $1,000. So just know if you're buying it out of state, depending on where you live, there might be certain rebates and things you guys don't qualify for. All right, so the fourth thing, and this one is big for me, and I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way in doing this. If you're talking to somebody over the phone, or if you're sitting down, have them write down every single fee that is associated with the car. Doc fees, licensing fees, any fee that you just tell them, I want you to write down every single fee, and when I check out with your finance person, I do not want any surprises on additional fees. Case in point, my wife's minivan, we bought it down in St. George. And you know, part of what a lot of these dealerships do now is they add on aftermarket accessories because they get a kickback, because they have certain deals that allow them to make money on their car. So what they did on my wife's minivan is they had them install this security protection. So if anybody ever steals the car, that I'll get like $6,000 back or something like that, which I'm like, okay, but I have insurance, whatever. But they threw that in there, and when we asked the salesman, hey, put down all your fees, he didn't. And when my wife checked out at finance, brought the paperwork home, I was like, no, like, we're not gonna do this. And they also financed some oil changes into the loan, which honestly, I was okay with the oil changes because in the long run, it worked out. Now, if you wanna change your own oil, that's something to look into, but these guys are sneaky. Their dock fees, all of their fees, you know, in dealing with my dealership in Iowa for my Mustang, no dock fees, no fees. Here is your price, and that's awesome. But just make sure you guys know all their fees and just say, look, if I get any surprises at finance on fees, I'm not buying this car, and that's how you guys should approach buying a car. All right, so the fifth thing, and honestly, this pertains more to people that are buying a new car. Do not let a dealership wash, touch, detail any parts of your car, and let me explain why. These dealerships, they just don't know how to properly detail a car. You know, they use brushes. I've seen it time and time again where they scratch cars. A lot of guys that buy these new cars, they'll have it immediately shipped to a detailing place, or you know, it arrives at the dealership and they say, hey, don't wash it, don't touch it. I have had them scratch instrument gauge clusters because they take a towel that's not meant to touch those kind of things, and they press really hard and it scratches instrument clusters. You know, my car that I bought, it had scratches on it, and they wanted to ceramic coat it, and they're like, hey, Austin, we'll clay bar it for you. We'll put this really good ceramic coating on there. And had I let them do that, they would have sealed in so many scratches on this car. So guys, it is not their forte. Their forte is cars, buying and selling cars, but don't trust them with your brand new car. It just isn't worth it. They don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry, they just don't. And don't let them touch your cars, because if you're a perfectionist like me, I'm just telling you guys, it is not worth getting a brand new car and having them clean it, because chances are they're gonna harm the paint or hurt something inside. So the sixth thing that I wanna share is talking about gas and having a dealership fill up your car for you, which is a great gesture and it's very kind of them. Just make sure that if your car requires premium fuel, that you make sure that they put premium in it. I am very grateful for when these dealerships want to fill up my cars for me, and thankfully with my car, they asked me, hey, premium. I showed up and it wasn't full of gas, but we went to a gas station together and they put premium in it. So if your car requires premium, guys, it's not worth spending all of this money on these cars and having them just fill it up with really cheap gas. So if your car requires premium, make sure that the dealership fills it up with that. So for my last and final point, a lot of times we think we are done negotiating after we've settled on a price with the sales rep, and that is not the case. Wait till you get to finance, because they're gonna try and sell you extended warranties. They're gonna try and sell you blinker fluid. They're gonna try and sell you rust protection packages. They're gonna try and sell you theft programs. You know, in my case, I had settled on my car and they tried 5 times to sell me a ceramic coating. I was done, I had settled on the car. It took them 5 days to finally finalize this deal because they came at me 5 separate times with a ceramic coating. And I'm so glad I didn't do it, because it would have just sealed in all my scratches. So guys, just know that you're not done after you're done talking with your rep. And a lot of times it might be good to pull in finance and your rep and say, guys, I want to make this easy and I need to get out of here quick, but let's just both talk about this all at once. This is what I'm willing to pay for. These are the packages I'm willing to do or not do. And I don't want to have 2 separate negotiation processes. We're just going to sit down, we're going to tackle this at once, and I don't want to be held up. It caused me getting my Mustang a little bit later than I would have liked, because they were still waiting for my answer on the ceramic coating, and I thought I told them no. So just know you're not done negotiating until after you're done with finance, and oftentimes those are the more painful negotiations you guys go through. So guys, I hope this was helpful for you. These were just some things that were fresh on my mind after purchasing a car. I hope it helps you guys as you're out purchasing any car out there. Hope you guys are loving the cars that you have. I hope you guys are living life to its fullest, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Catch you on the next one.